the Starliner Boeing, which has to bring the astronauts back, has developed into problem. The problem what is declared now is the leakage in the helium tank. So why is this leakage is there, and what is the need for this helium? Let us try to understand. The fuel that is required to bring the astronauts back to back to Earth, or the fuel that is used in any of these rockets, or the space shuttle, or the crew module and service module, is hydrogen and the oxygen. So in space, without the gravity, the fuel will not be able to come down. Therefore, you need to pressurize or push the fuel down to so that it comes out of the fuel tank and the combustion takes place. When the combustion takes place, the torque is developed and the force is developed. That's how the rocket moves. Now, helium is used as as a media, which is a lightweight. Helium, everybody know that it is a lightweight element, and this helium is used as a medium for pushing this fuel, that is hydrogen and oxygen, for combustion. Now there is a leakage. When the leakage is there, it means that it cannot give this required amount of pressure for the the fuel tank, that is the hydrogen and oxygen. Therefore, the combustion cannot take place. Now the study is going on. Why this leakage and what is the extent of this leakage? What is happening in this the shuttle which is trying to bring the astronauts back? As on now, the studies are that the leakage is not too high, but it is tolerable, and the astronauts should be able to come back to Earth safely. But till the complete analysis is done and confidence is 100% confidence is given, so, astronauts Sunita Williams and her colleague will have to stay in the space station. It was planned to have them in space and have the space for 6 days. The launch was done during sometime in the June, and now the stay has been extended for 45 days. The point that we have to appreciate is that even if they have to stay for 90 days in space and in the space station, there is sufficient food and arrangements and the required gadgets there in space station for these astronauts to stay there for 90 days. Now there is high level of confidence that the leakage may not be a major concern and they should be able to brought back. This is one problem. There are other two problems which the astronaut is facing. The second problem is the debris, which is due to the it is reported that one of the Russian satellite got disintegrated and it was moving towards towards the space station, which might cause damage to the space station, and therefore the instruction was given to the astronauts Sunita Williams and her colleague to stay put inside the space station and not to come out. That issue, I think, is more or less resolved now, and the debris seem to have moved away, but there are always smaller pieces of debris which are likely to hit the space station. Therefore, that as a precautionary, she had to stay put inside the space station. This is the second problem. Third problem that that is being encountered by this team of Sunita Williams and her colleague is the non-functional of the 4 thrust engines in the shuttle, which has to bring these people back. There are about 28 thrust engines which are mounted in the space shuttle. These 28 thrust engines are required for generating the required amount of force and the torque to bring the shuttle from the 408 kilometers orbit of the International Space Station to the Earth. Now the studies are going on to see if there are any possibilities of more failures, or what is the exact reason of failure, and will the failure percolate to other thrust engines, etc. Practically, if you see, there are 28 thrust engines. If 14 thrust engines work, there is sufficient to bring the astronauts back to Earth. Always in the space, there will be one level of redundancy, that is for 14 thruster, there are 14 thrust engines, 14 thrust engine, there is 14 thrust engine redundancy is there, and now the final report has to come from NASA whether there are any generic issue in these thrust engines which might percolate to other thrust engines, or if they come out saying that it is only specific to these 4 thrust engines, then there is no issue with the available 22 engines. The astronauts can be brought back to Earth very, very safely.